Habari gani, Mainduga Nadada. My brothers and sisters, allow me to expand your consciousness on the plight of those who think they've made it in this oppressive system. I'm talking about African people now who are oppressed by Europeans and others. Somehow, after we get an education or get a position within the oppressive structures, we come under the illusion that we've made it, that we are the exception. Let me see if I can tell you a story so that I can open your eyes to your future in this oppression. Once there was an African trader by the name of Ben Johnson on the west coast of Africa. This brother was so prolific in his business that they call him the Grand Trading Man. He thought he had made it. He thought he was a regular trader in slaves. He equated himself with the Europeans and Arabs because he sold his people to them. Well, one day, this slave trader, this African by the name of Ben Johnson, went aboard the slave ship on the West Coast and sold a young girl and others to the ship captain. And he left. A few minutes later, another boat pulled upside the slave ship. And some Africans went aboard and wanted to know if the captain had just bought a little girl, because the little girl was a sister of one of these African intruders on the slave ship. And the captain said yes and showed them the girl. They got off the ship and got into their boats again. Went back to their homes. And before the day was over, they were back. They had captured Ben Johnson and had them in his boat and took him on aboard the slave ship. Showed him to the captain and asked the captain if he wanted to buy him, and the captain said yes. Then Ben Johnson looked up with tears in his eyes, disappointed because he thought he had made it. And the words that flowed from his lips were as follows: Captain, Captain, will you buy me, Ben Johnson, Grand Trading Man, who's been trading with you for years? The captain looked at Ben Johnson, Grand Trading Man, with steely eyes and answered, if they will sell you, I will buy you. And a few minutes later, Ben Johnson, Grand Trading Man, was shackled and taken in the bowels of this slave ship, headed towards you know where, the Western world. End of story. So you understand, my brothers and sisters who think you have been made because of your education, because of your ties with the slave master today, because you go along with the oppressor today and act in his behalf, that you have it made. You had better learn a lesson from Ben Johnson, Grand Trading Man, because that's the way the master feels about all of you, and that's the destiny of every African person. If the slave masters, the oppressors, can have their way, They want us all in chains. Doesn't matter how much power you have. Doesn't matter what complexion of the skin you have. Doesn't matter how well you articulate in English or Spanish or French or German. You're still just an African. As the Arabs say, we are born to be servants. That's the Arab outlook on African people, that we are natural slaves, natural servants. So you see, we have no friends but ourselves. If we are to be liberated, we must stand and stop cooperating with the enemy and treat the enemy like an enemy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Stand up and face your enemy. He's not your friend. He has you faked out, using you, exploiting you on another level. And you, like a clown, go along with it because you think you have made it, because that is your dream, to be a white man or a white woman, because they represent power, they represent beauty, they represent luxury. Do you understand? If you understand, then begin to stand. Get up off your knees and stand like men and women and say no to this oppressor. It doesn't matter how much education you have. It doesn't matter who you think you are. You're just a servant in their eyes, something to be used for their economic advantage. Hope you understand. Hope you act on what you understand. Once again, peace and hotep to you, my brothers and my sisters.